How can a spouse who is actively working on personal development and healing past issues be patient with their partner who is not yet self-aware or engaged in similar efforts?
This is an Iwegbus production.
Period. Introducing our new segment, Love Lounge. Yes, here in this segment, we answer your dating and marriage questions. So if you have any questions, you can DM either one of us, our joint page at the Iwegbus, or you can email us at iwegbus1@gmail.com. You can make your little quick burner email account. You can email us anonymously if it's real deep.
Yes.
Or, just email us. Let us know. We would love to answer your question. We created this segment because I was just getting a whole lot of questions, and I started feeling like I was being neglectful in a way to God's people that has been assigned to me. And so this is a way that we can stay tapped in with y'all. So for today's question, it says, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Iwegbus. First of all, I have never been called Mrs. Iwegbus.
What?
No.
Hold on.
I was literally.
I ain't calling her Mrs. Iwegbus?
No,
Hold on. I went through all this and y'all ain't paid so much for that ring and what?
Yes, I was literally thinking about this when I went
call her Mrs. Iwegbus.
When I went to one of our kids' appointments, and I was writing down, how you have to circle Mrs. I was like, dang, I've never been called. They don't really say Mrs. anything. They don't. You don't hear people saying anybody last name no more. Mrs. You gotta usually be in high school. Or
not
something.
unless, for
teacher.
Somebody like me who's selling or something, then I'm definitely say Mrs.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, I've literally never heard Mrs. Iwegbus. Never. Anywho, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Iwegbus. So thank you for that. Yes. I hope all is well. Thanks for healing marriages. Praise the Lord. Awesome. Y'all voices are needed. Love y'all. Be blessed. How can a spouse who is actively working on personal development and healing past issues be patient with their partner who is not yet self-aware or engaged in similar efforts? That's a good question.
All right.
You want me to read it again?
Yeah. How can
a spouse who is actively working on personal development and healing past issues be patient with their partner who is not yet self-aware or engaged in similar efforts? First and foremost, I want to let you know you are not alone. There are so many, especially women who are particularly married to men who might not be like in the programs that you're in, going to therapy, reading, personal development books in their word, like how you are. I had an interview with a pastor, shout out to Pastor Philip, and we were playing this game. And one of the questions was run or have fun. And one of the questions were, he's less spiritual than you or something like that. And I put run, and my co-host and Pastor Philip said have fun. And I think that was the game. And he basically was like, most women are just more spiritually mature. Like they just are much more mature. Men are more carnal. And so it's kind of a normal thing. And I was like, dang, that, really sucks. But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like women they buy the more books. They're going to school. Even the programs that we're in, there are
so many.
I mean, it greatly outweighs
like 90% to 10.
Think about women that are in church. It's like 80% to 20. So it's a real thing. So you're not alone. It's a very, 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 very normal. What I will say, and I just want to speak to single women really quick. This is why we say don't marry potential, because what will end up happening is you'll marry someone, like listen to the married women that are saying, hey, he's not growing. He's not this. He's not that. Most of the time, married women had signs and the man showed them who they were before they got married. But it's you.
Oh, you gotta tell them. You gotta tell them.
Gosh, it's so many women that think that they can change their man when they get married. Yeah. Why do y'all think that once y'all get to the altar and y'all get married, then he's gonna love God, then he's gonna honor you, and I'm not trying to spaz. This is passion. I'm trying to get it through to single women. Y'all better look at that man for who he is and not who your prophetic gift hopes him to be. Look at who he is. Sis, did you drag him to church? Are you teaching him about Adam and Eve? Is he just now practicing abstinence with you?
Yeah.
Does he have no desire to actually grow in personal development and go to therapy? I'm letting you know that just because he might marry you does not mean that he'll become the version that you so desperately hope and pray for. He's showing you. Tangent. I was watching Love is Blind. And I really like that. I really, Namdi.
And I'll be creeping
yes.
over. I'll be creeping over her shoulder, like, okay, yeah, okay. That's crazy. They don't really like each other.
Yeah, I was watching. Oh, excuse me. I was watching Love Is Blind on my iPad, and Namdi gonna come in the room talking about put it on the TV. I said,
I was just like, let me just check it out real quick. I mean, just want a nightcap with you.
And there was this scene where this dude, I think it's Jimmy, and I forgot the other girl's name. I forgot her name. Jimmy and his girl, and the girl is like deeply insecure, and she just be spazzing, she be tripping, and I'm like, wow, Jimmy is literally getting a glimpse of his future
for sure.
And this is what happens: we get glimpse, like, dang, he's not as mature as I thought, or dang, okay, he kind of was texting so and so, that was kind of a little red flag. He's kind of immature, he's kind of lazy, he ain't really interested in. I gotta lead him the Bible. Like, we get all these little glimpses. And then get married and be like, why you aren't leading me? Why you aren't being a masculine man? And why you aren't doing this? Like, he was never that. And you knew it. But you thought that getting married was going to transform him. That man is still the man that you met.
Come on.
And so I just want to speak to every single woman, y'all. Stop choosing to be blind.
Yeah.
Just because you want to get married, sis, you deserve a man that can lead you and love you. And I got to talk to spiritually stable, secure women. You don't want to marry a son. You don't want to marry somebody you got to raise. All you are going to do is nag him, fuss him to death.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't settle. Go get you a God-fearing man. Stop thinking that you about to transform him because y'all say I freaking do. So I'm sorry, that was a tangent, but that's the first part. You can go ahead and jump in.
No, I would just say, and I agree with 1,000% of what you're saying there. I would say to the young lady, just
the biggest thing is
to be the example. Most men, I would think, their pride would hurt them. I mean, their pride, it will mess with them to see their woman growing and they're not. It should make him uncomfortable after a while. If he sees you growing in a way that benefits him too, might make him say, you know what, man, she wasn't the best here, but now she's nicer. She's more of a servant type of a lady nowadays. Like, she's, this actually, what is that you're looking at? Because if it's changing you, then maybe it can help me as well too. So instead of, I see a lot of times women just, like you said, unfortunately, the man showed who they was from the beginning, always did. Like you said, it was kind of like Pastor said this past week, he said red flags turned a hot pink. And that's what happened. They started turning to hot pink flags. They just ignore all these different things, and then they just nag them and on his
begging
back.
They begging for the marriage.
What you mean?
Like the men that they're frustrated about they're begging them to marry them. Like, they're like dragging them down the aisle,
and then get there and be the one that filed for divorce,
and then file for divorce.
Women about, I think they said it's about 70% of divorces are filed by women
because they.
I wonder why. Because you thought, well, you saw he looked the way you wanted him to, or he was built a certain way that you wanted him to, or he made you feel physically the way you wanted him to. And he said, I do to who you actually are. Men, a lot of times, we not looking to change you. We like, keep all of that. All that stuff you was doing, do all that when we get married too. I want even more of that. Like, so we saying I do to that. Y'all are saying, oh, I do, but I'm gonna change. I do, but he's gonna change that right there. He's not gonna do that. Watch when I get over here. And then y'all, a lot of times women, they'll stop doing some of the things they were doing in the single life. Okay. Like, giving it up as much as you should. All those servant things you was doing. You was cooking, making his plate, made sure it was good. You was like, I'm about to get this ring. Okay. And then you stop doing that afterwards. So, but then you're getting there, you're nagging him to do all these different changes. And it's just like, no, have some grace. You're a woman of God. You better start praying. Just pray. I know it sounds cliche, man, but I've seen Holy Spirit work so much more on my wife than what my mouth could do. I've seen the same way. I would say something and she'll be like, that I am so glad that you came to that revelation because I was thinking that, but I did not want to come to you about that. I didn't want to get on you about that. And God, spoke to you before I even said any words.
Yeah.
A lot of times you speaking and you going back and forth, especially unfortunately, if you haven't learned to fight fair in a heated fellowship, okay? If you haven't learned to fight fair, you came from a household where it was a lot of contention. You seen your mom operate in a certain way or your dad in a certain way. You could turn that man off and he don't want to hear nothing that you got to say. So a lot of times, man, you got to leave it to the Lord and be the example that you want to see in him. Yeah. That's what I would say. And vice versa. Sometimes there's men who's like, man, I'm doing all of this. My wife don't want to do, she don't have no drive in her. She don't got no other visions. Like she just want to just cook and just do a regular life. And maybe he want her to be inside the business with him.
Yeah.
And I would just say to that man as well, continue to be the example. There's many more things that I've seen changing you by my example versus my words.
Yeah,
you seen it and you was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym too.
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna start reading at this time too. Okay, yeah. I'm about to start praying in the morning and doing all these things too. We don't do the exact same thing, but a lot of the things we'll pick up on each other. If I see, at one point, you were getting deeper, you start following some characters that I didn't like too much. Let's just say that as far as YouTube and their doctrine just was off. Theologically, they were off. Now, not
TK out here following people's doctrine. You just threw me out there.
I'm sorry, baby. No, it wasn't like that. I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. It was, but I'm coming back to me.
TK was just watching these people.
It wasn't bad.
And doctrine was off.
It wasn't 1,000% off, babe. So, wasn't like that. But what I'm saying is, and I'm coming back to me. I'm coming back to me on this. But so stay with me. But it was some things that I wasn't into that she was into. These people were like 1,000% off, but it was some things I didn't agree with all the way. Let's just say that. But I looked at it and I said, dang it, why is she looking at these people? Well, I need to step it up as the man of the household on my spiritual game. I need to get better in this area. She's wanting to learn. She was wanting to grow theologically. And I'm really not supplying that. I'm supplying finance. That's what I was doing, supplying finance and doing all the other things, but I was slipping in that area. I wasn't having the Bible studies. I wasn't pointing you in certain directions that you should be at that time. And then you kind of got into some characters and to your defense, you eventually, God spoke to you, was like, yeah, I don't agree with those certain things that these people are doing. And that was no longer, but again, it was because I wasn't.
No, I just stopped because you didn't like them.
You didn't like them.
So I respect
but I didn't like them, but also.
I respect you.
But you don't agree. Okay, so you agree with some of them right now.
I'm
talking about like, who, we ain't gonna say their name, but.
I don't agree with everything Tim Ross does.
Right.
I don't agree with everything Mike Todd does.
Right. Same here.
So, but I don't think that makes their entire ministry be trash. I think that Mike Todd has done some great things. I think he also has very theatrical things. I think Tim Ross has done some phenomenal things, but I also think he has done some shaky things. Yeah.
Just back to my original point before we go.
You are funny. Now you want me to say it out my mouth.
What?
That I don't agree.
What with those certain people?
Yeah,
I ain't say their name. So, but on some of them, you would say you don't lean towards their belief as much anymore.
I don't know if I would say I don't believe in I don't lean to their belief. I would just say that I stopped because you didn't like it, so I respect you.
Yeah. So and she submitted, even though she maybe didn't agree when it came to it. But overall, it made me get in my bag more as far as theologically. Like, okay, I got to get my study game up. I got to be able to point her and say, hey, that's not right. What he's saying on there, that's not the word. And so it made me step my game up when it came to it, just because I seen, okay, she's hungry. She's hungry for more of this. She just didn't want Sunday. At that point, I was just cool with Sunday, and I'm cool. And you know who I was, my spiritual leader at that time. I read the word, but it wasn't as in depth. And cool, I had that leader, and maybe I leaned too hard on him. And so, hey, I saw that and it made me have to step my game up. So again, he may see you continuing to grow and be like, oh no, she's not gonna be the most theologically sound person in this household. Nah, she's not about to be leading us in the spiritual realm of things. No, I'm supposed to be the priest of this household. I'm supposed to be the pastor of this household. And that's what it felt like to me. I was like, oh no, nobody else is about to be no pastor up in here. I don't care who he is and whatever he's talking about. Nah, we got to shut that down. No, let's really go look at the word on that. Let's really go study what he is saying about that different thing. So she made me have to step my game up because I got fired up about that. So you growing and not nagging him, he may say, you know what, let me step in because I can't just let her lead this family in this area.
Yeah, Namdi is making this sound very cute because he was definitely angry. This was talked about in counseling sessions. I want to say one last thing to this. A lot of people look at us, and I think we give hope to the hopeless when it comes to people that have done it wrong. And I feel like sometimes it has set people up to be like, well, y'all worked out okay. You got to understand that both of us fiercely, aggressively love God before we met each other. Like we both were on our face. We both worshiped. We both was in the church. We both had the same foundation. Like there wasn't he had to introduce me, that I had to introduce him. Like there was like literally everything aligned.
It was already
everything
Jesus
aligned.
Above anybody who he was going to be with.
Yeah. Like everything.
It was like that automatically. Yeah. And many times, unfortunately, it's like the man is like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get cool with Jesus because I really want you.
Yeah.
A lot of times a man be like that. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we don't want to give false hope. Like, don't look at us and be like, well, she turned him. Like I get comments all the time. Like, well, you said Namdi wasn't this before. And you said Namdi wasn't that before. There were certain parts of him that, yes, was not who he is today. But the fact I never had to drag him to do anything when it came to God. There was never a drag for him in his integrity and like growing. Even though he wasn't, like you said, leading necessarily Bible studies in the beginning, he was always growing personally, like financially, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't marry a little boy. I couldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. So we don't want to give false hope. And so what I would say to you, sis, just to second what my husband said, is you be the example. You be the example of what you want him to be. Even when it comes to women that feel like their men aren't gentle with them. And then I get like deeper insight and I find out you cussing him out. And it's like, well, how I allowed my husband to be more gentle, or encourage, I should say, how I encouraged my husband to be more gentle with me is I became gentle with him, even though I felt like he did not deserve it. I'm like, you're not providing an environment for me to be feminine. You don't deserve for me to be feminine. You don't deserve for me to be kind to you. But I knew that in order for you to give me something, you had to have it first. So I had to pour it into you in order to get it back. And I know that's so controversial to today's society. Like, if he ain't doing this, he ain't doing that. Some of y'all are skipping over good men because he doesn't initially do something. Sometimes they got to be a little trained. They got to be a little taught into how to do this. And that's vice versa. There are things that he wanted from me. He wanted to see from me. So he just did it. He just got up and went to the gym. He just got up and got on his face. And now I'm doing it too. And so that's the best advice I can give, is be the example.
Hey, thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you could do us a huge favor, please hit that like button and please subscribe.
Yes, and please do not forget to hit that notification bell. We need y'all to be locked in every single time we drop this fire content. Yes. Also, we need y'all to follow us on all social media platforms at the Iwegbus. And look, we will see y'all on the next video.